Welcome to Hanukkah Erotica Book Club, a podcast where we review Jewish romance books. I'm Razel, here with my co-host Malia. Hi, Mal.
Hi.
And Shana Tova to Malia and all of our listeners.
Yes, 5784 is here.
Wow. We did it.
It's been quite a year for us.
It really has. It really has. I can't believe last episode with Becky reviewing Roz Alexander's Hire on the Too Stupid
really
to Live
fun.
podcast.
That was really fun.
That was so much fun.
I didn't know what to expect because, I only know our podcast and it's just kind of us talking, so I didn't know how the vibe was going to be, but it was still us talking with just, another cool, funny person.
It was so great. She was awesome. Becky was awesome. And I just think the way that her podcast flows generally is open-ended enough that it was a really good fit.
Her little blurb she did about the book was really funny.
I was like, I can't believe I'm here reading you book descriptions and she's writing her own glorious piece about each book.
I know. She's really she turned it into an art form, which is really unexpected and fun.
It was really awesome.
Yeah. And the coolest thing was how enthused Roz was about it.
I know. So I wanted to share that. I shared it with Malia, but I want to share with our listeners. So Roz loved this episode, and it made me so happy because, first of all, Roz Alexander Books on Instagram said Roz Alexander Books (hiatus) before this episode. Okay. And it said that they were on a writing break. Okay. But I had reached out, this wasn't the same as KK Hendon kind of not responding and disappearing. As soon as I DM'd Roz, they wrote back.
Okay.
But so they weren't on a hiatus enough that Instagram wasn't on their phone, you know?
Yeah.
But
a regular person hiatus.
A regular person hiatus,
yeah.
Yes. And so I let them know that the episode was up. And then an hour later, I get a DM. Okay, I loved this episode. Thank you so much. I laughed. I cried. All of your criticisms are so valid, LOL, and I loved them. The only thing I will defend myself on is the Rosh Hashanah rehearsal. My previous temple did a full tech run every year, and I just always thought it was so funny, which is hilarious. Also, I did find out more about our tech rehearsal.
Oh, right. You were talking about it.
It's not a full run through of every, so that's it is funny that they did a full tech at her shul, at their shul. It's very funny to me.
That's very committed.
Other thoughts I had while listening. Roz is a really sensitive person. I literally cackled out loud. Look, yes, that is true. And yet in my day-to-day life, I've known to be a kind of a hard ass. So I love that my pudding heart came through. Anyway, we talked a while. I don't want to read every single DM, but the best part about all of these DMs is that Roz said, anyway, I've been so burnt out the last year and just focused on my day job. And this episode honestly healed so much of my little heart. Thank you, heart.
Wow.
Which was so beautiful. It made me feel like we're really having an impact.
Yeah, totally. We're revitalized their love for the genre. Wait, did they take hiatus off their profile?
Yes. So yes.
Amazing.
So then when I went back to Roz's profile, Roz is writing now.
That's really cool.
I know. I mean, listen, I will have to confirm that it was us, and I'm obviously shameless enough to do that.
It wasn't not us. You know what I mean?
It wasn't not us.
Right.
It wasn't not us. I also did check in about the cookies. I was like, wait, but what about the cookies? What about the cookies? What kind were they?
Critical.
It was that kind of platter of Shiva cookie, Kiddush cookie.
Sure.
That we discussed, which made sense and also gave me a vision for our live event. We told our listeners, but we don't know when people are checking in with this podcast. We're having a live event on December 13th at the Rip Bodice in Park Slope. We're so excited. Tickets are not on sale yet, but they'll be on the Rip Bodice's website.
Less than 3 months away.
Yeah, I can't wait. I feel like my life is like a marathon until winter break. The preschool's running. We have our live event December 13th. I feel like it's before. My whole life is going to be before and after this live event. Like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
It's going to be pivotal.
But I was thinking, like, because the Ripadas was telling me that there's like, you can have refreshments. Like, I think we need a platter of kiddish cookies.
Yes. I think we should have a whole like kiddish spread. Like, could there be herring?
Oh, sure. Great. I can't be involved in that part of it, but yes, there could be herring.
I would love to take charge of a herring variety platter. I think that's critical.
I would just like love to see what happens with it after. Like, do you know those Instagram influencers who like post their pictures of their kids' bento box before and after they ate?
Of course.
Like, will the herring be touched?
Like the herring's the one compartment of like baby carrots that are still there when like the PB&J and everything else is gone. The goldfish crackers are gone. Right.
Exactly. And also to see like which of the kiddish cookies get eaten.
Yes, this is reminding me of a funny story that like, okay, remember when we lived in our Upper West Side shul going days, we used to attend a lot of potluck Shabbat meals that were like at davening, like after a davening, there'd be like a potluck Shabbat meal. And I always felt like the crowd after those meals, after those davenings, like would eat anything. Like whatever you brought, whatever like lentil, polenta, steamed vegetable item you brought, because they were always like vegetarian potlucks, would be demolished. Like,
okay, I agree. There were also like rules and logistics that I feel might be interesting to our listeners, because this isn't just like a universal thing, but I think you should keep talking. But we should also, I want to describe the logistics of this a little when you're ready.
Right. The logistics got pretty complex, actually, I feel
table one, table two, kosher kitchen, yes.
Yes. I forgot all about the table one, table two. That's so funny. You're right. That is a good detail. But okay, but my story is just that, okay, one year it was the Shabbat, I think, like right before or after Purim, and I attempted to make hamantash and I wanted to make like a healthier hamantash, but I like went too far and I like substituted all the white flour for whole wheat flour, like all the sugar for like applesauce or whatever. And anyway, they were just like not good. Like they were not sweet. They did not taste good. They just tasted like a lump of dough.
Yes, like shapeless, flavorless.
Yeah, they were just like triangular blobs.
Oh, they were triangular.
Basically.
Okay, great. That's impressive.
They were triangular. They looked fine. They just tasted like nothing.
Yeah.
And so like whatever. Oh, so William, who I was dating at the time, came for Shabbat and kind of like choked one down, like pretended to like it. And I was like, I know they're not good. Like you don't have to pretend. And then we were like, we're going to one of those potlucks. Like, let's just take the whole platter there, because if it'll get eaten anywhere, it'll be there. Like everything gets eaten at these potlucks. So I'm like, great. I wrapped the platter. I also brought like a normal thing that I had already planned to bring, but I was like, this is a bonus. And we were sort of like
chana masala.
I made a chana masala or like whatever it was, palak paneer, I don't know. But I made like a chickpea item, of course, and these were like a bonus. And we were just sort of like, will this platter get eaten? Like, this is the ultimate test of like just how like sort of far will the potluck post-work, post-davening, famished crowd go? And so I put them down, and then sure enough, like toward the end of the potluck, I go back and the plate is empty. All the hamantashen have been taken, and I was like, wow, okay, like this crowd, like I was right, they'll eat anything. And then I go to the garbage to dispose of my plate, and as I'm throwing it in, I just see like in the garbage are just like a million hamantashen with like one bite taken out of them. And I was like, okay, people do have some discernment here, but like, that was like just a funny moment. But those potlucks,
yeah. Like, okay, because here's the thing. Like, as I said, I feel like Stacey Agdern like really gave me a lesson, which is like every time in my life, I'm like, that's a book. There's a book. That's a book. That's not a book. It's a scene in a book. It's a chapter of a book.
Right.
Those potlucks would be an amazing scene in a Jewish romance. Like just describing it, the table one, the table two. I remember that there was in one of the Facebook groups associated with one of these groups, like someone was like, to the woman that asked for the chana masala recipe. And I was like a 22-year-old pisher. And I remember being like, no one's ever called me a woman before.
Oh my God, you were the woman?
Yes.
That's so funny. Wait, what was it? Oh, they were sending you the chana masala recipe.
Yes, it was a link to the recipe, and like another with like it was a link to the recipe embedded within a broader page describing these potlucks. Do these still exist? Like are those like minions in Brooklyn, like having these two?
I assume so. Like, I feel like I'm not attuned, like, I don't go to nighttime things because I have little kids now. So, like,
Right,
I don't
right.
really know, but I think so. I think they
You don't
are.
have your finger on, I want to
My
know.
finger's not on the pulse, but I think they are. Like, I get emails about those same minyanim
Oh,
still
okay,
meeting,
fine.
at least one or two of them. So I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay. Also, I do not ever want people to say something like, I'm a one-upper and I don't want to one-up your story. And I'm not going to one-up your story, but I do feel compelled to tell you another story that reminds me of your Hamantashen story, but actually disgusting, which is that when I was in Park Slope in the apartment with Rebecca and Rebecca,
Right.
and we had a lot of parties, you were at all of them.
Right.
There was a night, I believe it was the night that I met Mitchie, because it was the New Year's Eve party.
Sure.
It was either that party or the one right after when Mitch was there, but it was a New Year's Eve party, and we were making these trays of mini quiche, and there was a tray about to go in the oven of frozen mini quiche.
Okay.
But that tray of frozen mini quiche went,
Oh,
and all of our
no.
party goers ate frozen uncooked quiche
Ew, why?
before it went in.
And they got eaten. Like, people weren't
Well,
throwing
that
them
part
out.
I don't know. Like, I
Right.
know Rebecca was like the next day, like, something disgusting happened last night, which is that I had a tray of quiche about to go in. And when I went to put it in the oven, it was empty because our ravenous guests.
Why were they so ravenous, though? That's what I don't like. Or was it just like there's
The
a party
quiche, the
vibe of like
quiche.
people aren't really paying attention because they're just checking out the scene? Like,
What, like, how could that happen?
I don't know.
I don't know,
know.
because now I feel like in like with the rest of my life, I see a lot of like food not go uneaten. Like, I feel like at work that everyone's like, we always need food at events, but really like no one eats the food at events. So
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a different community. I just don't know.
I
I
feel
was
that potluck community like really appreciated everyone's vegetarian dishes like big time.
Yeah, they really did.
And yeah, there was like the first table would be like there was a whole huge I mean, the politics of these announcements were very significant. Like, the announcements about the table system were like several minutes long about just like what should go on what table.
Yes, table one, a kosher kitchen that you only use kosher ingredients
Right.
on. Table two, only vegetarian and ingredients in
Right.
a
And then I think
kitchen.
one table would be vegan, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. And yes, there was also like very safe, by the way, to do store bought. Like, it's the safest thing you could possibly do is like,
Sure, sure.
I don't know what, bring a bag of chips.
Yeah, like a bag of chips, a thing of salsa. Don't worry, that'll get eaten too.
Oh, of course.
It's gone.
Those were really fun.
They were. I just went to a wedding of a couple met at one of these dinners.
So cool.
So
A
like
lot,
it would be a
they're
great
alive and
romance
well.
novel scene. Like people are meeting. I mean, people are connecting.
The more and more I think in this way of like, that's a scene, that would be a great scene. Like, the more I feel that there's something brewing in me.
All right.
It's possible that it's, again, just my weird, horny fantasies fleeting in and out of my brain. I'm like, that would be a good scene in a book. But it wouldn't not.
Maybe it'll come together.
So much at the top of this episode to talk about. Our listeners don't even know that we're reading another High Holidays romance.
But this is a good segue because this was a very like shul heavy book. Like
Very
a lot
shul
happens
heavy.
in the shul.
Very shul heavy.
Right.
Very shul heavy. So this is interesting. This is our first Harlequin, though it's not the first Jewish Harlequin. This is the first High Holidays Harlequin, but there have been Hanukkah Harlequins. And by the way, snowed in her boss's bed, the book Becky told us about. I mean, shock, jaw on the floor that snowed in her boss's bed is a Hanukkah book. But snowed in her boss's bed is also a Harlequin. So I did a little research to figure out like the history of Harlequin. What is exactly a Harlequin book? Like, I've always gotten the sense that these are these books that are like published very fast. They seem to me that they're like they're very prolific. There's tons of them coming out.
Right.
Like there's sometimes like very generic cover art. There's like some kind of, they seem formulaic in a certain way.
Right.
But I didn't exactly know. Like if I were to have asked you, like, what's a Harlequin? Like, what would you have said?
Yeah, I would have just said it's sort of like, I assume it's like the publishing house for romance novels, and they just sort of like churn them out quickly. They're just like volume.
Exactly. Like in my research, I found out that this Netflix series called Virgin River, it's like a popular series on Netflix, actually is inspired by a Harlequin series.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, there's obviously books that I don't know, or inspire other art, movies and things. But then I stumbled on a website and that I think is going to give us a lot of info called Write for Harlequin. That I guess there was a challenge in 2000. This is an old website. In 2018, if you wanted to write for Harlequin, you could. There was some kind of Harlequin romance competition, but in it describes what the books are. So it says Harlequin romances are romantic, uplifting, couple-focused stories that invite readers to get swept away to glamorous destinations all over the world and experience all of the intensity, emotion, and sparkle of falling in love. The sensuality level is low. The bedroom door stays shut. But the emotion is high. By the way, excuse my voice. I had laryngitis last week. I'm still recovering. We're looking for fresh contemporary voices who can explore that intense emotional connection between the hero and the heroine. Then there's a lot of other information, like what are the key ingredients for a perfect Harlequin romance? A Harlequin romance novel is all about the heroine. She's the key in this series. She needs to be real and relatable so the readers can instantly connect with her, and her story should make the reader wish they were in her shoes. But that doesn't mean we can forget about the hero. We need a hero we can immediately trust who is worthy of the heroine. Not all heroes are super rich international tycoons, although some might be. But they are successful in their own right and should be a strong man our heroine would aspire to be with. Glamorous, gorgeous settings are encouraged, and international settings work well too to add escapism and aspirational elements to our romances. This particularly made me laugh, given the location in Home for the Holidays that we're reading today, A Harlequin by Jennifer Wilk. W-I-L-K, Jennifer Wilk. Glamorous setting, it is not.
Right. I don't even know where it's Anytown, right?
It's Anytown, New Jersey specifically.
Right.
And I couldn't just sit on it. I had to ask her, was it modeled after a certain Anytown, New Jersey?
Yeah. Oh, good question.
Morristown.
Huh.
Are you familiar?
I am.
Okay. Can you tell us if it's anything like this book? Because there was something very Anytown-y about this book.
Right, very Anytown-y. It's funny because I don't know. I mean, like, I'm no expert on Morristown, but like the things that I know about Morristown are like, one, it's like more rural than your average suburban New Jersey town. Like it's pretty like woodsy and sort of, I was imagining this town being a little more like, I don't know, almost like Great Neck or something, with like a main street and like I don't know, a little more.
Yes, but the thing is that like even someplace like Great Neck, like you would be hard pressed to find a karaoke bar that's in like the one that's in Home for the Holidays where they like are singing to each other. Basically, we'll get into the book, but
right.
So I don't know if these are like
the other
fictitious...
thing about Morristown is there's like a huge Chabad community there.
Right. But I think Jennifer maybe grew up there, and so this was based on that, but it felt very Anytown-y to me. And by the way, I stopped reading all of my DMs with Roz because I felt like I feel bad that I'm reading all these DMs without their permission. But there is something on Anytown USA that they said, so now I'm going back.
Okay.
It said, Anytown USA, it's so funny that you compared it to Shira Glassman's story in South Florida because I'm from South Florida. Laughing emoji. I'm now in Chicago and I definitely think of my books as Midwestern, but you can't take the Florida out of the queer.
That's funny.
So I thought that was really funny.
That is funny.
Because
it's
there
so
was
funny
something
that they all these writers know each other also.
Yeah, it's like the thing about it is like not only do all these Jewish authors know each other, but like now like we're in that mix.
Yeah, they know us.
It's like I spoke to Aviva Blakeman, who wrote Hot Rabbi and Hot Lumberjack this week on our behalf. Like it's like it's like yes, they all know each other, but also like now like we're out there. Like I can't believe it. Anyway, so yes,
It's really cool.
I did think that I thought this book was Anytown-y, but it was Anytown, New Jersey. But the thing is, like, you're from New Jersey originally. I live in New Jersey now, and so
Right.
it was actually hard for me to kind of swallow that pill because a big in Home for the Holidays, Sarah had left New Jersey, but
Yes.
Aaron stayed, right? And she left for DC for this life in DC. And Aaron, whose family owned the deli, stayed. And her leaving is like a big thing in the book, that she's left and that she's returned.
Right.
There's something about the way that they were together that felt like weirdly ageless / older than they were meant to be. Like,
Right.
when
Yeah,
I was in my
thinking
late,
this too.
yeah.
No, I was just thinking it was weird how big of a deal it was that she left the town.
It's like, who doesn't leave their New Jersey suburb
Everyone
to
leaves
go
their
do
New Jersey.
stuff?
Exactly. First of all, these are like educated people who are like attending college, having careers. Like, it sounded much more like she was like my stereotype of like a small town in Kansas where like everyone like marries their high school sweetheart and stays in the town. But like, I just don't feel like Jews on the Eastern Seaboard do that. Like, everyone grows up and moves to an urban area. Like, I don't
Like,
know.
to be like, you left the shul. Like, no shit.
Right. Everyone
She
like who right.
of course she left the shul. Like, she's 30.
She's an adult, right? Yeah, she moved away, like, right. But it didn't seem like that. It was like she got home and it was like,
Oh, you're back.
it was
Oh,
like,
you're back.
oh, we haven't been in touch. You left us for your glamorous life in DC. We're all still here buying our iced coffees at
I'm
the
going
deli.
for my run. I'm going for my
Right.
run on Main Street. Like,
Right.
why?
Right. Shouldn't you all have be like wherever you like went to school and now you're like living in a city and
like,
doing something?
maybe you came back. Like, I do see, like, now living in suburban New Jersey, like, there's categories of people. Like, some people grew up here and now they're back here. Some people grew up in other towns and then they decided to move to this town. But, like, no one just, like, was born here and never left and they're still here.
Yeah, but also the people you're talking about are at a different stage of life where now they have young kids and they're like thinking about, okay, where do I want to
Exactly.
raise kids? None of these people are in that stage. They're all like single people in their 20s that are just still in the town.
And can we talk about that thing where it's like, we haven't been in touch, you left. Like, it's a two-way street. Like, in this world, social media didn't exist.
Right.
Like, it could be like, I saw on Instagram, DC looks cool. Like, but obviously there was a big issue in this book with her always wearing black. So she left
Right.
New Jersey for her glamorous life in DC, Sarah. In DC, she starts dating this guy, Matt. Matt's a dick, by the way.
Totally.
And he he proposes to her. She has to think about it. And the timing of this proposal is right before the high holidays where she's about to go home because she works for a Jewish nonprofit. She gets a bunch of days off. She's adding a couple of vacation days. These were a lot of details I didn't know if the readers
Also, what
needed.
does she work with for like the ADL? Like, at first I was like, where is she working? Some kind of like, it seems like it's a Jewish nonprofit that combats anti-Semitism in DC.
ADL sounds right.
Something
Sure.
like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Also, like, a bit trumped up how glamorous that is. You know what I mean? Like,
it's more like her life with him.
right. He's like, his star
He's a
is
future
rising.
politician.
Right. He like wants to be a senator.
Yeah. But like, first of all, like, could you in a million years imagine you're proposed to, you cannot give an answer, you need to
Right.
think about it, and then you're like, I need to think about it, and also I'll be home for 2 weeks, and the guy being like, that's okay, take your time, think about it. I know the
Right.
answer to that on William's side. He'd be like, it's over. Not to you, but in general. Like, William once said something very smart to me like 12 years ago that was like, if someone asks for a break, like, it's not fair you know, if you want to talk to that person you're with, like, it's not fair to be on a break. Like, you have every right to want to talk to, you know, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, your whatever. Like, she didn't say she needed a break necessarily, but she's like, I need to really consider your proposal. I don't know. We know, actually, we know it's not looking good.
Right.
For you and Matt.
When it comes to a proposal, everything that's not like a vehement yes is a no. Like,
it's bad.
It's not like, you know.
There's like grimacing sometimes on reality TV on some of these shows where it's like propose or it's over. The Ultimatum, Love is Blind, all these different shows. Like a grimace, not good.
Right. When your gut reaction's a grimace, that's not.
So she's like, well, I don't know, and also I'm gonna be home for 2 weeks. But the difference is like going. This is like what we're saying, and I'm sorry I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's like going home for the holidays in this book. But like that is a thing. Like there's that whole funny SNL sketch about like sleeping in your twin bed when you go home, or like let's sleep together in my twin bed. Like it's a thing, and it's like it's funny. We've all been there. Like we've all gone home for the holidays. Like there's a lot of richness to it.
Yeah.
But the idea that like you're back and you left and like that to me doesn't ring true.
You're also the only one who's home for the holidays because everyone else lives there.
Right.
It's like Sarah's home.
Like Sarah's back.
Right.
And she's wearing black. Where's the color? She's too skinny and she's wearing black.
Right.
They're very upset about her lack of color in her wardrobe.
Right. It's symbolic of sort of like she's lost her true self. She's
changed. Yeah, she's changed. She's on her way to being
she's a city slicker. Meanwhile, again, like this town is like half an hour outside New York City.
Exactly.
Like again, it doesn't really make it doesn't make sense to me. Like this sounds like something like in the heart of the Midwest or I don't know what.
But the thing is, like, I think part of it, because like what I'm not saying is something I want to say, which is that like I'm happy there's a High Holidays Harlequin. Like a lot of people read these books. Like people have subscriptions. They get all of like this is awesome. Like it's really cool. Like also there's like so much Judaism woven into this book that's meant that's
and I think most of it's really accurate.
Very accurate. It's just like I'm harping on this one thing because like I actually do think that there is potential for like a being home for the holidays that like would ring really true. But this like kind of like abrupt, like you left, like it does to me feel very small towny. And because you're from New Jersey and I'm here now, I think like that we're having a hard time buying that one piece.
Totally. Although, you know, I do like I know like in the general world, going home for the holidays usually implies home for Christmas. And so I think therefore, because Hanukkah's around the same time as Christmas, usually, and in books we've read, it's like someone's coming home for Hanukkah. But actually in the Jewish calendar, you're much more likely to go home for the high holidays than for Hanukkah. Like this is our holiday, our home for the holiday season. And I think it's cool that this book like portrays that because it's not, I don't know, it's not so obvious.
Completely true. This would be that season and could go all the way through Sukkot, really. Like it could last. Right. And I think it's really cool. It's like I've even gone home with other people for the holidays. Like people I've been with, Talia, like I've been home with, you know, and there's a lot there. And I think it's really cool. But similar to how in Hot Rabbi, there was something about like, I haven't been to the synagogue in a while. What are they going to think? And I remember thinking like, they don't care. Like a lot of people don't, like, I don't know. Like a lot of people don't go to shul every week.
Right, no one's like keeping tabs on you, right? Yeah.
Right. Or like, you know, but, and then like, I remember there was like the sisterhood yentas in that book. But this book's another book that that like centers around a Reform synagogue.
Right.
And also this former love, her ex, Aaron.
Right.
Also, the other thing is where he's like, you left. And I'm like, you guys broke up. Like, to be like, you left. Like, first of all, she didn't break up with him, I don't even think. And like.
No, there was that whole funny scene where he went to surprise. Remember? Where he says he went to surprise her and he saw through her window that she was like in the arms of another man.
And it was just like her being like friendly and cozy with her gay best friend.
Yeah, she was like, that was my gay friend, you fool. And it did, I mean, like, that's kind of, to me, that's like a typical, like what I would imagine is like a romance novel trope of like, you see something through a window and then you travel back from DC to Morristown without a word, like that. That's a little
100%.
like
That is like the premise of Becky's podcast being called Too Stupid to Live. Like how these like people in romance books do some things that are so silly.
Right. And then it's like 10 years later, like he never talked to her again because like she was in the arms of another man. Meanwhile, like, come on, like what kind of a window was that even? Like, was there a house on the ground floor and he's like peeking through? Like, what was even like what are the logistics of that? Like I don't even that was thin. That's a plot point.
Okay, love it. He also, okay, obviously they're still hung up on each other. Like she's waiting in line for the deli. This deli also was not kosher style. You want to discuss the deli?
I was gonna say, what's up with this deli? Because it seems like it has both, like they stop there for an iced coffee after their run, and there's like bagels and cream cheese and like like lox and all that stuff. But then they also have meat like brisket and what have you. And then there was a mention that they have a separate milk case and dairy and meat case.
Okay, there is this kind of weird deli here.
Oh.
That like people like think is kosher. And like the deli sandwiches might present as kosher.
Right.
Meaning like I don't think there's like melted cheese on your like corned beef on rye.
Right.
But they also have bagels.
And cream cheese?
Yeah, like it is not kosher.
Huh.
But apparently like the only thing in the whole place that is kosher is like if you get a plain bagel. This information is choppy at best because A, I've never been there, and B, I think I was once like I had looked at the menu, or I don't know, looked at the website, or I don't exactly know how I gleaned that this was this kind of a place. But I asked someone at my shul, like, what's the deal with Clark Deli? And they were like, the bagels are kosher, but nothing else. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. But yet that place is exactly like this in terms of the random assortment of Jewish things all under one roof. It's like the opposite of a kosher place that's like kosher pizza, and then you can also get falafel, sushi, and like salmon.
Sure.
Like, but weird, like disgusting kosher, or like falafel, shawarma, sushi.
Right.
You know, there's like, it's sushi at either, but like, you know, just like a random assortment of things like under one roof called La Pizzeria, but really you could also get a poke bowl.
Yeah. There's a poke bowl, there's fries, there's like a salmon feta salad or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Where like every Orthodox person in my life like has thought historically that like fries goes with pizza, but really like nowhere else in the world does like a side of fries, go with pizza other than in the kosher world, because you could always get fries at these places. So it's tricked everyone into thinking they even have fried pizza.
Also, humiliatingly, there's like a separate sushi counter where there's like a person wearing like some horrible like version of like Asian garb, like
it's a cultural appropriation sushi chef.
It's like so hard. It's like I can't even
they're like
that exists.
in a falafel place.
Yeah. It's in a falafel place.
Okay, so this is like the exact opposite of that, but also similar, because it's like bagels. And like, for example, like I'm sure if someone has a bris here where I live, like they might call that place and they would like cater the bris. They'd like probably like make you the poached salmon and like give you all that bris stuff.
Right.
Platters with all the things you like: whitefish, herring,
yes.
lox,
smoked appetizing, amazing. Sable,
smoked
appetizing.
Sable. By the way, like we have to pump the brakes a little at the Ripatis event. Like herring, fine, but like it can't be like no one's gonna eat it. Sable?
What are you talking about? Sable's amazing.
I'm gonna leave you. I'm leaving that to you. I trust you, and I'm leaving it to you.
I'm not gonna get sable just because I want sable. If I'm gonna get,
but like if herring, here's what I'll say about that. Okay. If herring belongs, if you need to put herring on something,
right?
Like if you need toothpicks or like crackers or anything, like everything to do with the smoked fish is under your category. Like
I got it. I get it. You have no part of it. I understand.
No part.
It's under my control. My
exactly.
Domain.
I'm thrilled that it's gonna be there. I want it. But okay, anyway, so this place is the exact opposite of the kosher falafel, poke bowl, pizza, fries place.
Right.
Because they have all the random assortment of like deli sandwiches
But it
and
all
bagel.
kind of falls under the, like, it's all like Jewish style
It's all Jewish.
food.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Got it.
And probably owned by Jews, and also opened on Shabbat and the whole
Right.
thing, which
It
like makes
sounded
it
good. I'll say that. All the meals they described at that deli catered all sounded good to me.
Oh, Aaron definitely ran a great deli.
Yeah.
I think the cookies were delicious. They were black and white. I could taste the iced coffee now. Because like suburban iced coffee, like I really want that iced coffee. I could taste it. It's delicious. There was a lot of round challahs because also it was a bakery. They were churning out round challahs for Rosh Hashanah.
Right. Yeah, this place did a lot of, it was really a jack of all trades. Oh, but then what did you, so first of all, it's interesting to me, I didn't realize that Harlequin was light on the bedroom stuff. I actually was like surprised. I was kept waiting for more of that in this book and was surprised that we didn't get it, but now I understand it's the mark, that's part of the Harlequin thing. I did not know that, but
Okay, but like, did I have a fever dream? Because there is one sex scene in it.
yeah, no, there is.
Okay, but is it once? Because I read the books more than one time to do this podcast with you. And I feel like there was multiple sex scenes, but I think it's because I read the same one twice. It's one, right?
No, I think there's only one. But I was going to ask you what you thought about that scene with the cream cheese. There's like sort of, it's not a sex scene, but there's like a foreplay-ish sort of scene where like, you know, because the whole thing is like, you come to learn, I think, that she has kind of like started, you know, eating much more, you know, eating a certain way, like dieting basically, and exercising kind of religiously so that she can live this sort of like sleek DC life that she imagines, like, you know, she has to be very fit to fit in.
Fine. Fair assessment. Generous to call it dieting. I think it's bordering on like ED territory, eating disorder territory.
Agreed. Totally. You know, she's
content warning.
Right. No, you're right. You're totally right. But the whole idea is that like this is to fit the mold of like the perfect political wife that this guy who she's dating wants.
Interesting though, because in my narrow-minded view on these things, like the wife of a politician is not like skinny and in all black. Like she's in pastels in my head. Like she's in color. She's in some kind of tweed. Like I don't know. I don't see. Is she in all black?
No, I don't think so. I think they like
and
if
frail?
anything. No, she's not frail. She's more like she's like motherly. I feel like a political wife. She has like kids, and she's sort of like.
She's round in my head.
Yeah, she's like a mom, like a sort of, you know, she's motherly, I feel like. She's nurturing.
Regardless, Sarah has become, like, it seems kind of like a shell of herself, working out a lot, not really eating, and wearing all black. Okay, tell us more about the cream cheese scene.
So there's this one scene where, like, she goes to help Aaron in the deli. This is, like, when they're reconnecting. It's like, and he makes her, she goes to the deli to, like, help him in the morning, and he makes her, like, a bagel with, like, a heavy smear of cream cheese. And she's like, ooh, I forgot how good these bagels are. And then she's like, I shouldn't eat more of it. It's fattening. And he's like, come on, like, have more of it. And then, like, the cream cheese kind of, like, squishes out of the bagel, and she, like, takes a finger and, like, licks it, and he's, like, really into that. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I can't entirely get behind, like, cream cheese as a foreplay. Like, it's a little, I like the idea, it's cute, and, like, of course I like that he's, like, you know, he wants her to enjoy the bagel, and he's not hung up on, like, whatever image or thing he's trying to like bring her back to herself, but the cream cheese like licking and all of that, I'm just
okay, hilarious, so unsexy. But here's the thing, like, I do think that food people find like certain things about people eating very sexy. So like in my eyes, like, this deli owner who's also like a chef, like he really cares about food, like he's like deeply disturbed by her weight loss, it seems, and her new look, and the fact that she's eating less. And I do feel like the people in my life who are like chefs or chef adjacent or like any, like, I do like to see you eat. And like, I don't know, I think that Aaron was turned on by the cream cheese. Hilarious.
Oh, he really was. Oh yeah,
I could see it. I could see it in real life. I could. There's a lot in this book that you just kind of like can't believe is in a Harlequin. Like, we got Rosh Hashanah, We got a lot of Yiddish. We have
Mm-hmm.
anti-Semitism.
Oh, yes.
We have anti-Semitism bringing them back together. We have shul life. Even just like setting up the folding tables for like shul. There's like a lot of like synagogue life.
There's a mention of Tashlich.
Exactly. Mention of Tashlich. Like all of this to see in a book like this is like really very cool.
Totally. Like the plot revolves around it. It's not like just ancillary.
Oh, for sure.
Really fun.
Yeah. And even just like the preparing for the holiday, like talking about the round challah, like just everything, all about it. I just like can't believe it's all there. But then also like woven in with that are these other scenes where like, first of all, like she has a boyfriend and that boyfriend is potentially a fiance and he has just proposed. She's like having all these feelings for Aaron. And it's like, what about Matt? Like, I don't understand. Matthew. I don't even think he goes by Matthew.
Right.
But like, what? Like, can you, and also like, finally, like at one point, like her and Matthew talk. She like kind of hears something in the background. It's like the voice of another woman. He's like, what? Like Matthew's like, I don't even, Matthew doesn't care at all. Like he's like, sure, take your time. It's a big decision. Okay.
Right.
Matthew.
Also, she's like, by the way, I kissed Aaron. He's like, it's okay. I get it.
I get it.
She's like, you get it? I kissed an old boyfriend? He's like, yeah, it's just a kiss. Thanks for telling me. It's fine. So are we going to get married? It's like, what?
What?
Who are you, Matthew?
Truly.
Yeah. He's like not really a three-dimensional character to me.
Right, like he like wants her to be a certain kind of person. All he wants is this arm candy that like fits in with his life, but really he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just like single-minded, like career dude, and this is just like a thing he has to do, like any other work task, it seems. Which, like, do people like that exist?
I don't know them.
Right. Maybe they do.
But it's the same thing, like, but it's I don't know. There's a lot of people out there, right? I don't know.
Sure, right.
But because it's like going back to the thing about like small town Kansas is like when I went to college or like when I was studying abroad in Argentina and there were so many people from different places, it's like the truth is like there's people in all places who just like who do go to college and get educated and like maybe they go back to their small town, but maybe they don't. Like there's just a lot of different ways to live and a lot of I just think that for whatever reason, like reading Jewish romance books really opened my eyes, even though really like this is just a book about suburban New Jersey, but like there's a lot of different ways to live. So I don't know, maybe there's these people like Matthew. It seems highly unrealistic to me that you could propose to someone. They could be like, I need a couple weeks. They're like, no problem. Then you're like, I kissed my old flame. And they're like, okay, I understand.
Me. Right.
It's the important thing is that you're telling me the truth. Is that the important thing?
Right. What? Like, yeah, the whole, right. Yeah, that's why, I mean, like, it takes, like, not a lot of time for her, like, story that she's telling herself that she's in love with this guy to unravel. Like, a few days later, she's like, what am I doing?
Right. But it's like being back home, seeing the people, being back in Aaron's presence, like,
yeah.
There's a karaoke scene that I referenced earlier.
Yes.
That was just really making me laugh.
It was really funny. I agree with you. Like, does your town have a karaoke bar? Like,
so there is like there is a place to do karaoke here. There is.
Okay.
And the thing is like, I've been having this conversation where it's like, has this town where I live always been a place that has like fun places you can go out? Like there is a karaoke place. There's like places that play live music. Like it's fun. There's a lot of fun places. Like Great Neck did not have that growing up for my parents. But the thing is, or is our generation of parents going out in a different way? So there's more now catered towards
why?
People,
what was the last generation of parents doing?
Well, it's like, I don't know, like I think like my mom and dad would like go out for dinner with friends, but like I don't think they would ever like go to a bar, or like maybe they would go to a friend's house and like hang out with those friends and they would like play games and like have dessert and like maybe there was wine, but like they weren't
They were
like
lame.
like
They
we
were
get
more
invited
lame,
to
you're saying?
parties.
Right.
But they were having fun, but like we get like we go to party. Like Mitch and I get like in we have like a bustling social life. Like with like tons it feels like college. Like I mean college there's kids, like not exactly college, but like a lot going on. And I feel like is that a generational shift or is it locale? Like for example, I remember that for our family friends, like I want to say 50th or 45th birthday. It's hard for me to know because like my dad was 59 when he died, so I feel like it was like a 40th or 45th birthday now. For one of our family friends' birthday, Shari's dad. Shari's a listener of the podcast. She always listens.
Hi, Shari.
She always said hi, Shari. She's listening now, so she's gonna definitely send me a text correcting me about the age. But like for some birthday party, there was a theme, like 70s theme, and like the way that my parents like came downstairs dressed in their costume and hysterically laughing was like this was highly unusual. But like Mitch and I have a costume closet.
Wow. Really?
Like, yes.
It's really funny.
Like we have a full-on costume closet. Like you dress up for Purim with your kids, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
you know, it's like
a few things.
You have a couple things. Like
yeah, a couple things.
So yeah, I just feel like the level and I don't even mean like the level of drinking. Like I don't really drink. It's not like the level of drinking is different. I mean like the way that the partying is happening. Like
That's
so
interesting.
there is a place with karaoke here.
Huh.
And I don't know if that's because
I wonder what that means or what it signifies.
Right. I don't know.
Cool.
I haven't been. But the karaoke scene made me laugh because she sang "Somebody I Used to Know" by Gautier. It's like do do do
Sure.
do.
Not the song that you picked to do karaoke.
It's like so slow. And just
Also,
the
like,
idea,
the singing has that like weird breathy voice that you have to imitate. I feel like.
it's
Actually,
like
that could be funny.
but the thing is, they were humorless.
Used to know.
It's like now and then I think of when we were together. Do, do, do,
I take it back. This is a great karaoke song.
It's so funny to me. And like he was like there with his best friend Dave. There were a lot of gay best friends in this book. He was there with his gay best friend Dave. Like
Right.
I didn't know if this was like a tokenism issue, like
Right.
or like obviously like it's tricky when like there's just like token gay characters woven into things. Like this obviously felt less authentic than like Roz's book, like or like Shira Glassman's book, where it's like queer authors writing about queer people, feels very authentic, written in a totally different way.
Right.
Aviva Blakeman, same thing, like bi representation. This is not that. This is like a bunch of gay best friends woven in.
Right.
But also like could be totally sincere. Like we have gay friends like that are close to us that could have been at the karaoke bar with us, but he's like there with his gay best friend Dave. And also the only reason I'm saying it is like I feel like that's like the way it's written.
Yeah, it is totally. That's like the descriptor. Yes.
And it's like she's singing for you, like she's singing to you. Like I just like picture her. Also, because it's like, do you get up and do karaoke alone? Like I feel like I like karaoke in a crowd. Like I like singing with you. Like we've talked about this on the podcast before. Like at by the way, another great scene in a Jewish romance book, the Hadar Shavuot retreat. But like Molly and I were once on a Shavuot retreat, and after Yontif karaoke comes out, it's like literally like just like the nerdiest scene. Like
that was really fun.
And Molly and I did Mr. Jones.
Yes.
And it was epic. I don't know, like, because Molly and I didn't grow up together, so like we did not grow up and discuss like Counting Crows. So I don't know if it's like we're the exact same age, like we're just a few months apart, and so it's just like assumed that like we know every word to August and everything after. But it's like had we discussed it? I don't know, but we just did Mr. Jones. We literally knew every single word. We were not checking the words on the screen. Like the prompter meant nothing to us.
No. We knew it.
We knew it. Like we went so hard.
That was so fun.
It was really, really fun. But it's not like being alone in a town you grew up in where you're like, and I don't want to live away. reading it. I feel like my laryngitis is really working for Gautier.
Totally. You're getting into it. Right. Like, I feel like the people who do karaoke alone are the people who, like, actually want to perform.
Like, they're
It's not
good.
just, like, silly karaoke. It's like they have a good voice. They actually want to sing.
Exactly.
It's like, it turns into, like, open mic night a little bit.
Right. And, like, I feel like if I'm in a place with karaoke, like, I want it to turn into a sing-along.
Right. Because that's just fun, belting out lyrics. You're not, like, actually thinking about how you sound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this scene just absolutely cracked me up.
It's really funny. She's serenading him with Gautier at karaoke.
It's just
so good.
It really,
That's
really,
very funny. Yes.
It really, really made me laugh. But also, like, there's another scene where he, like, teaches her how to cook.
Yes.
He's sort of like, enough of this. Like, what have you been eating?
Right.
Back to, like, the Matthew character, like, there is a part where he's like, he brought me to restaurants and taught me what to order or taught me what to eat and, like, all these things where I'm just like, you grew up, like, in suburban New Jersey. Like, there's tons of restaurants. And, like, again, like, you're a train ride away from the city.
Right.
You weren't that clueless. And maybe she was. Sarah, it's like, I don't want to take that away from her. Maybe Sarah was clueless and he educated her in DC, but
educated her about what? Like, what's she ordering? It's not like she's traveling to Southeast Asia. Like, I don't know. Like, what? It's just
she's
a
in
restaurant.
DC.
Like, what's she getting? Like, I can't even. What's he teaching her? Like, wine pairings? Like, what?
I don't know. I mean, there's, like, definitely foods that are, like, on the scene now that weren't on the scene when we were kids, but that doesn't mean it's not because we weren't exposed to them. It's because, like, kale was a garnish, not a food people ate.
Yeah, things come into fashion, whatever. But even then, like, I don't know. You look at a menu, like, I don't know. You go to. I just don't get what he's teaching her.
She's like, he ordered for me. But, like, the thing is, back to this idea that, like, Harlequin is, like, escapism. It's like, women want that. Like, women want a man to mansplain a menu.
Well, I guess the point is, like, right. No, it's gross. I guess the point is that, like, she got sort of swept up in it, but ultimately she realizes she also hates it.
Right, like, she just wants the deli. She wants her round challah. But okay, so anyway, Aaron's, like, basically kind of like, what do you eat? Like, how do you, like, do you feed yourself?
Right.
And she's like, Matthew sort of takes care of food, and he's like, I want to teach you how to cook.
Yes.
And, like, basically, like, it was the equivalent of, like, the man, like, putting his arms around, like, a woman during a golf lesson to be like, this is how you swing
right. Yes.
the golf club. But it was like with making an omelet.
Yes.
And it's just like, why, Sarah? Are you so, like, again, because it's like, forget the fact that, like, I'm extremely comfortable in a kitchen and you're extremely comfortable in a kitchen, and it is actually hard for me to wrap my head around someone who's like, I don't cook. Like, okay, but, like, you prepare food. Like, what does it mean? Like,
right, you don't get takeout every night of your life. Like,
what do you eat?
You eat something, right?
Like, you have to make it. And I know there was, like, a whole TikTok trend that I missed called girl dinner, because I'm TikTok sober for a few months now, and I'm sad that I missed the girl dinner TikTok trend. But, like, apparently there was this trend where it's like, sometimes, like, a girl, like, and it's like, some, if, like, a friend doesn't have plans, or, like, they're not with their partner, their boyfriend for the night, they'll, like, eat a bowl of popcorn or, like, a random smattering of snacks on a plate, and it's, like, quote unquote girl dinner. And then, like, other people were sharing their girl dinners, which were, like, a bowl of pasta with olive oil and salt. That's definitely a Razel dinner. Like, if no one else is around, like, I love a giant bowl of pasta with olive oil and salt. I don't mean no one else is around. I mean, like, if my kids are around, like, there's going to be something more than just pasta. Like, I'm also going to steam some veggies for them. I'm going to, like, try to give them a more complete meal. But, like, alone, I'm happy to just have the pasta myself. But, and if it's, like, the whole family, like, we're eating something a little bit more balanced than that was my point. But girl dinner, they're prepping food.
Right, they had to make that pasta. They had to, figure that out. And, like, salt the water,
and
whatever.
I know some of the girl dinner is just, like, handfuls of random snacks and cheese and crackers and, like, other charcuterie on a plate. I get it. But he teaches her how to make an omelet. And it's like, this is a good question. And I think I know the answer. Is there a class called home ec in yeshiva or Jewish day school where, like, you learn any of that? Cooking,
Not
sewing?
No.
Because you're
Does
like,
that exist in your, did that exist in your
like
school?
there was sincerely a class called home economics, like not out of a TV show, a real class
Wow.
in middle school that was required. It was like a semester of home ec. It was required. It was a room in a basement. I've never seen that room before or after. It was like a classroom with like kitchen stations all around and sewing stations all around where you learn basic skills. In that class, I learned how to make an omelet. In that class, shout out to all my public school kids, learned how to make snickerdoodles. In that class, I made pizza dough from scratch. Like I was a kid in an oven, open fire, like learning how to cook. Like I remember very clearly, we sauteed onions, took them off the pan, put those on the side, then made the eggs, put the onions and cheese back in the omelet.
Wow, first of all, that's great, and I hope that still happened. Oh wait, and it was all genders of children who were taking this, right?
Wouldn't it be hilarious? And that would be a book. No, and it was not just the girls. We all took the class. It was required, and you were like in a group of 4 or 5, and together you're making all these things. That's
awesome.
Half of the semester is cooking. The omelet, pizza, and snickerdoodle stick out the most. Very curious if any of my peers remember other things that we made. But then the second half of that class is sewing skills, which is so like you make a bag. By the way, there's more than one class semester of this because I remember one year you make a bag, another year you make a pillow. So obviously I took home ec more than once.
Wait, was there also shop class?
Yes, there was wood shop. So like in elementary school, there was shop where I had like a saw. There were like stations with like vices and saws, and you're like, oh God, I probably hated that class. Like, our listeners aren't seeing what I'm doing, but I'm like gesticulating, like sawing a big plank of wood, which is what I had to do. But I was like a little pisher. That wasn't easy for me. But yes, yes, there was wood shop that was required in elementary school as a special, like a once a week special, and then there was a section of it required in middle school, and then all of these things existed again in high school as electives, I think. But I didn't have room in my schedule for many electives, so I was taking a lot of theater. So like I never explored any of like shop or home ec again, other than requirements. But I did learn a lot, including the omelet. Sarah grew up in Morristown, going to public school. Like, what?
No home ec for her?
You need him to shadow your body as if it's a Zach Morris teaching Kelly Kapowski how to swing a something at the Malibu Sands Beach Club.
With the audience going, ooh.
Yeah, like he's like literally showing her step by step how to make that omelet. So I feel bad that I feel like I'm like shitting on this book, but really like I think it's really fun and glad that this book exists. Like I can't believe that there's a Harlequin book called Home for the Holidays. Like I can't believe any of it. And I do think that the idea of like cooking together is fun and sexy. Like another scene in my book is that Mitch and I, one of our very, very, very first, we met on New Year's, but we didn't start dating until 3 months later. One of our very first dates was over Chol HaMoed Pesach, and we like couldn't eat. There weren't a lot of places that I would have been comfortable eating because I keep Pesach.
Right.
And we went food shopping at this food emporium. We got a ton of food, and then we went back to his apartment and like cooked it all. And he like made a comment to me. Even recently we were talking about it. Like he knew very early on that I was like very comfortable in the kitchen and like really good in it. Like he like saw like in that at that date because we were like cooking together and having fun. But it wasn't like, this is how you crack an egg. We were just like having fun and preparing dinner together, and it was like nice and fun. And like
sure. No one was right. So it's funny.
Yes,
it's like
sexy because we were into each other, but like it wasn't like but he's teaching her how to make an omelet.
Right. So it's sort of like in both relationships, she's like weirdly being like schooled by these men about the basics of food.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is weird. Interesting.
Then there's this big thing, like I had mentioned, about her wearing black. He really wants her to wear more color. The book ends with like a promise to go shopping for colorful clothing.
Yes, that was like the like that sort of was like the sign of her whole like personality shift.
Right. The other like big thing that we talked about but didn't, get into detail on is like the vandalism and anti-Semitism in this book is like ultimately what brings them together. first there's an incident at the shul, and when like Aaron responds and is there, he's like, she wasn't there. Like
Right.
he felt
Aaron's
very,
very upset about the vandalism of the shul. Like the shul is like he's very connected to the shul.
very connected. The vandalism is very upset. Her not being there the night of, very hurtful to him. He kind of
Right.
couldn't look at her after. But then there's something at the deli. Also, simultaneously, like she's in conversation now with like the rabbi and maybe the board or people involved in the shul, like giving them ideas about like how to expand their connections beyond the shul community to the wider community.
That was very funny, that
It's
scene
funny.
where they're like, please give us your expert consultancy about what we can do. And she was like, I don't know, like how about like invite some people that aren't Jewish to your stuff? And they were like,
They're like, you're hired.
Fascinating ideas. Like,
Come back with a presentation. Like, I can't believe this idea of like having other people from other cultures within the community come. Wow.
also, like, isn't it a reform? Like, like a reform temple? Like, isn't that their bread and butter?
Tons
like,
of diversity, even within the community.
Right.
So I thought that was really funny, but also then like because of the way that she is in these meetings and the way that she's presenting herself, she lands a job.
Right.
At the local federation who needs her. Innovative, like big city skills. She takes the job. She's back. Her and Aaron really rekindle.
Oh, right. Aaron rekindle. Right. Other guy is Dunzo.
Oh, over with Matthew.
Right.
He's a Matthew. He wouldn't be.
Matthew. Yeah. He's not Matt. No.
He's not Matt. He's a Matthew. Yeah. Don't call me Matt.
Right.
It's over. Back with Aaron, hot and heavy. Hot and heavy. She gets a job working for a Jewish nonprofit in New Jersey. There's some resolution with the vandalism and anti-Semitism.
Yep.
Hope for the future. And an eye towards wearing more color, eating more delicious food.
Yeah. She's back to herself.
She's wearing color. Yom Kippur, also part of this book. Both holidays of Home for the Holidays.
Right. Yeah. She extended her. Right. It makes sense. Like if you're going to travel home, you're going to stay.
Yeah. It circles back. They're into each other. We get a hot sex scene that I read so many times that I thought,
you thought there were a couple of them.
There were a few of them. But interesting that the bedroom door did open up a creak.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I was expecting more. I didn't know if that was the mark of a harlequin. Like I thought a harlequin was going to be like, I don't know, sort of a Danielle Steele-esque style situation. Right. Something
the word
a little
harlequin
more.
Alone sounds
kinky. Sounds kinky, right, exactly. So, which is interesting to me because I was imagining that changes my image of Snowbound in her boss's bed a little bit also.
No, there's no way because now I think there is like imprints within a harlequin. There is no way that Snowbound in her boss's bed is not filled with sex. I would be shocked.
Right, I would think. Right.
What's she doing? Just streaming Netflix in her boss's bed?
She's eating takeout.
It's like, are you still watching? By the way, I'm definitely reading that book and letting you know what I think of it, but see if we should read it. But
okay.
Here's the thing. Like, I love that Jennifer Wilk wrote this book. She has written Hanukkah Harlequins also that I'm going to check out. Like, it's the few days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur right now. Like, we wish all of our listeners a Shana Tova, but if you're in the mood for a Jewish romance set during the holidays, like, this is perfect. It's perfect. You'll laugh.
Absolutely.
You'll get to see a romance of two people who are very intense, very angsty, which I love a little angst, very into each other. They cannot be apart. You can't even believe they've been apart for all these years, honestly.
Right. You really believe, I mean, like they're made for each other. I mean, it's apparent right away.
So if you're in the mood for a Jewish romance, that's a high holiday romance. Obviously, we loved Higher by Roz Alexander, Home for the Holidays. Check it out.
It was fun. It was really fun.
It was. I had a lot of chuckles.
Yeah. It was entertaining.
I can't believe how many times I read it, but yeah.
See, there you go. It contains myriads.
Should we tell our listeners what's coming?
Yes.
Okay. A lot of exciting stuff. Which is that we're reading Is this our first historical?
Well, I don't know. There was that other one, The Matchmaker's Gift, that was like kind of
Right.
historical.
This is like more like Regency historical. So we're reading Marry Me by Midnight by Felicia Grossman. Should I read you to the description?
Please.
London, 1832. Isabel Lyra may be in distress, but she's no damsel. Since her father's death, his former partners have sought to oust her from their joint equity business. Her only choice is to marry, and fast, to a powerful ally outside the respectful Bayrab family's sphere of influence. Only finding the right spouse will require casting a wide net. So she'll host a series of festivals to which every eligible Jewish man is invited. Once, Aaron Ellenberg longed to have a family of his own, but as the synagogue custodian, he's too poor for wishes and not foolish enough for dreams, until the bold, beautiful Isabel Lyra presents him with an irresistible offer. If he ensures her favored suitors have no hidden loyalties to the Bayrabs, she will provide him with money for a new life. Yet the transaction provides surprising temptation, as Aaron and Isabel find caring and passion in the last person they each expected. Only a future for them is impossible, for the heiresses don't marry orphans, and love only conquers in children's tales. But if Isabel can find the courage to trust her heart, she'll discover anything is possible, if only she says yes.
Wow.
This
Jeez.
book, the description is not telling us two things. I can't wait for you to see. One, this book is very Jewish, and two, it is very hot.
Ooh. I'm excited. Great.
And she has more in this series that's come out. So this is like a gender-bent Cinderella tale.
I get it. It's reversed.
Okay?
Yes.
But then there's a Snow White one coming out. That's also a historical and also Jewish. So I can't wait to read this with you. I can't wait to talk to you about it. I can't wait for our listeners to read this, because if we like it, which I think we really will, I'm excited to read more from Felicia Grossman. I cannot believe there's just this treasure trove of Jewish romance. I can't believe it. But who is coming to this episode to talk about this book with us, Malia? Tell us.
Yes, so very exciting. Sherry Schneider is going to be joining us on our podcast to talk about this book. And if those who don't recognize her by name, she is one of the two co-authors of The Rules, which is a hugely popular dating and relationship advice book that was originally published in the 90s, but actually has a new version that I think literally just came out in the last week or two, sort of updated for 2023. But
I can't believe it.
I have this bio that's just sort of about the book. So, Sherry Schneider and her co-author Ellen Fine began weekly meetings in a Chinese restaurant years ago, lamenting their dating woes and discussing their friends' relationships. The two have been formulating and formatting their rules for dating that have now become so popular. They've come a long way, having been featured on Dateline, The Today Show, chronicled in People, Time, Newsweek, New York Times, USA Today, even spoofed in a skit on Saturday Night Live. Since the success of the first book, there have been several spin-offs, adaptations, and parodies of the rules written by other authors, but none have garnered the attention of the original. And like I said, they have this new adapted version coming out, I think, literally right now. So Sherry is going to speak to us about her thoughts, hopefully, about this book.
And the rules. Cannot wait. I can't believe it. I'm honored that on that long list of publications, Hanukkah Erotica Book Club will be on them.
We're right in there now. I know. It's really nice. It's so nice of her to come on. It's really, really an honor. And I think it's gonna be a great guest and a great conversation.
So cool.
Yeah.
To our listeners, have an easy and meaningful fast.
Gemar Chatima Tova.
Wishing everyone a sweet new year. I cannot believe we have read more than one high holiday romance. I just can't.
It's really...
There's more. There's more. I found more.
Well, there better be more, because we'll be doing this for 5785.
I can't believe it. And like there's one that's paranormal, embracing Irina, a steamy paranormal sci-fi shifter holiday romantic comedy prequel novella by Michelle Mars. That's a high holiday book. A Rosh
everything
Hashanah
else, so it might as well
paranormal.
be a holiday for Golden.
Rosh Hash- we have to put a pin in that for next year, but we'll be back next Rosh Hashanah.
Great. Thank
Going
God.
strong from now until then.
Absolutely. There's a lot more to... We're scratching the surface.
So cool. Okay. Good night to everyone. Good night, Mal. Thank you so much. Follow us on Instagram. Write us a review. Share this podcast. If you're having fun with it, probably someone you know would too. Let us know if you have any thoughts in our DMs on Instagram, and we'll be back every other week.
Good night.
Good night.